Hey everybody, welcome to the MUSE TV Star Wars Andor watch party and after show. I'm Mike Sandoval from MUSE TV. I am wearing a cap today, mostly because I just didn't feel like combing my hair, and I'm wearing a backwards cap because I'm a little bit in shame after what happened over the last couple of weeks with the Dodgers. Uh, and the guy to my right over here, introduce yourself.
Go, go, Astros! Go, go, Astros! Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Here come the Astros, burning with desire. Here come the Astros, breathing orange fire.
Is that the
World
real
Series
song?
time, baby. Houston Astros are going to the World Series. They're playing the Phillies. Let's bring it on home, Astros. Yeah. I'm Jeffrey Harris, the J to the E to the double F rate. And wow, we have so much going on today, Mike. I don't even
Yeah,
know if we have enough time.
I really don't think we do. Is that the real song from the Astros, or you just make that up?
That's Matt. That is a classic by Mac Hayes
Mm-hmm.
called "Go Go Astros"
Oh, okay.
that he wrote in like 1980.
Oh, shoot. Back when
And
they
then
had,
they won their first World Series 27 years. Excuse me, 37 years later.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, there's a lot going on. What can we say? There's a lot going
The
on.
Astros are going to the World Series again. They're playing the Phillies this week.
Yeah, and since I'm not a fan of Bryce Harper,
Okay.
I'm gonna pull for the Phillies. I mean,
Why
not
do
for
you
the
not like
Astros.
Bryce Harper? What did he do?
I met him when I worked in sports. I've met him a couple times. He was just a
Okay.
complete and utter jerk. So
All right. Well, there's no walk of shame tonight. We only
no,
have peps in our steps, right?
he- I guess.
We're only boosters of the Roosters. We are only boosters of the Roosters, right, Mike? And we are here to have a good time. Thank you
Okay.
for joining us for the
Mhm.
MUSE TV
Yeah.
watch party, and we are back. And
Yeah.
you know what? Even though we're doing Andor tonight, there are actually two Star Wars premieres on Disney Plus tonight.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Tales
Uh,
of the Jedi.
besides Andor, the animated anthology short series Tales of the Jedi also debuts tonight, and you can check out my official review. Will be going up a little later. Let me think. Should be just over an hour now. So 3 a.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. My review of Tales of the Jedi will be going up after it launches on Disney Plus. It will be spoiler free, but yeah, there's some good stuff coming up in those shorts. So you'll be able to watch a new episode of Andor plus all 6 episodes of Tales of the Jedi, like back to back. You can make a whole early morning of it, right?
Exactly. Are we able? Was there an embargo, or is there embargo is lifted on that?
The review embargo is still in effect, but we can
Oh,
talk about, I guess, our social reactions and whatnot,
mhm.
but we can't officially review it. But my review will be going up later.
Yeah. Well, we'll hold that one for later then, because
Yeah.
that's
But that's after, but in
Mhm.
under an hour, you'll be able to watch Tales of the Jedi. So this is sort of like I would best describe it as a companion piece to the Clone Wars. So
Mhm.
it's 6 new shorts showcasing Ahsoka Tano, Count Dooku, and sort of key moments in their lives that we didn't really see in the Clone Wars before. So if you like the Clone Wars, you're going to get more of what you want, I think, in this anthology.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So since we're talking to Star Wars news, did you hear the whole Kathleen Kennedy thing?
What no? What happened with Kathleen? I mean, I heard about the Damon Lindelof. What happened with Kathleen Kennedy?
Let me find. Oh, that's probably it. It's take
Is
this
this
with a
is
great.
this is this is this real news, or is this just more like speculative
It's
BS?
hard to say because I'm going off of the direct, because that's probably the biggest from what I see
Well, what are we?
and the reporting.
All right. Well, what's going on? What's happening?
So supposedly, and comicbook.com. Oh no, not that one. Uh let's go with this one for now, and then we'll go over to another one. So there's a report coming out from the direct.com saying Disney reportedly prevents Kathleen Kennedy from announcing new Star Wars projects. I don't know if you heard
Okay,
that.
I
It's the
mean,
word going around not only YouTube, but it's going around different outlets as well. So I'm kind of
how
like,
okay, but how substantial is this?
I don't know. I really don't know. Let me put this back up. Sorry about this, guys. I accidentally closed that out. Comicbook.com had something about this as well. Let me put the comicbook.com one because
I mean,
they're owned by a bigger outlet. They're owned by CBS. Maybe it makes them a little bit more credible.
okay.
Okay, here we go. Comicbook.com has the story, and let's put them up instead. Okay, here we go. Star Wars. Disney reportedly wants Kathleen Kennedy to stop announcing new projects.
Okay, but is this their news or is this from oh, it's from Puck News. I've heard of this. This isn't so this didn't originate at the direct.
No.
It's from
Mm-mm.
Matthew Baloney of Puck reported that Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy was advised by Disney to stop announcing projects and creative partners.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, look, this isn't really that news breaking or earth shattering, but I think if you look back over the last several years,
Mm-hmm.
we've had many instances of movie projects that have been announced and then like they kind of fall by the wayside or there are creative differences or
Issues occur with schedule.
or the directors leave. Like, okay, so first instance, there was the Ryan Johnson trilogy. He was supposed to do a new trilogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was going to direct, write and produce a new trilogy and at least direct the first of the new trilogy. And that was announced, I think, several years ago. Like when I believe this is when The Last Jedi came out.
Yeah, it was like a little after The Last Jedi came out.
Now, Ryan Johnson says he's still doing these movies,
Mm-hmm.
just scheduling, but they're kind of off. They're kind of off the calendar right now because he's probably become filthy rich for doing Glass Onion at Netflix.
Yeah.
And that's actually getting like a theatrical release before it debuts on Netflix. So I bet he made out very well from that Glass Onion.
Yeah, he did. Netflix brought the money truck right up to the door and dropped it off.
So he's been busy with Knives Out and Glass Onion. And so in all that time, we haven't gotten any real headway with his Star Wars trilogy. But apparently he says he's still doing them. So what do you think's going on there?
I don't know. Something tells me he's not because Netflix, they're already saying that Netflix have already are working with this to have with Ryan Johnson about bringing a series, a TV style series to Netflix that follows Daniel Craig's character.
Okay, so here's what Ryan Johnson told Empire. I've stayed close to Kathleen Kennedy and we get together often and talk about it. It's just at this point a matter of schedule and when it can happen. It would break my heart if I were finished, if I couldn't get back in that sandbox at some point. So, I mean, Johnson's a smart guy. He's never going to completely shut the door on this. Because, I mean, look, why would you?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're a working filmmaker in this business, no matter like what you think about Ryan Johnson or his work on Star Wars, it would be foolish for him to shut the door.
Yeah.
Just like it would have been foolish for Henry Cavill to, shut the door on Superman, career-wise.
Yeah.
So there's that. Then there was, they announced, I think, the Game of Thrones creators, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, they were supposed to do movies, and that was announced by Lucasfilm officially. And then they ended up signing that huge deal with Netflix, and they kind of parted ways, right?
Yeah.
And then we got the Rogue Squadron announcement, which was like announced at Disney.
Investor Day.
What was that?
The Disney Investor Day.
Yeah, so they had that, and that was supposed to be Patty Jenkins, right?
Yeah.
And then, so what happened with Rogue Squadron? Do we know what's going on there?
Rogue Squadron is officially off of the table from what they said, mostly because of scheduling issues and also the time needed to produce the film.
Okay.
So they pretty much just dropped it from what it
Okay.
sounds.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, this deal isn't that surprising
Mhm.
because we were just at D23 a little
Yeah.
over a month ago,
Mhm.
and there were no movie announcements from Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
The only movie they had there that weekend was Indiana Jones. That's
Mhm.
it. And other than that, it was just Mandalorian, Willow, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, and some of the other TV. It was just Star Wars TV.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know what the issue is there with the films and what's going on with the films. Supposedly Taika Waititi is doing a movie, right? But I don't
I
think
thought that
they.
was done too.
What was that?
I thought that wasn't going forward either.
I haven't heard anything about that. But and then
What I
supposedly Kevin Feige is producing one separate from Taika Waititi, correct?
Yes, that one I heard. That one I heard is still working, going on.
Okay. Well, they haven't announced those yet, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's check Taika Waititi. Okay. In May 2022, Vanity Fair, Kathleen Kennedy confirmed that Rogue Squadron had been pushed off to the side by Lucasfilm. Here's my general thought on the matter. Don't announce the project until you are like 100% sure it's ready to go. You know, and I think that is a learning curve thing, and I hope, and maybe because we saw little in the way of film announcements at D23, maybe they're learning their lesson. You know,
Yeah, exactly. Because it seems like they were jumping the gun on a lot of things, and
they the last movie they announced was Rogue Squadron, and it looks like that one's just. I mean, look, there's always a chance Rogue Squadron could come back in some way.
yeah, it's
We don't
possible.
know.
Do you ever feel like maybe announcing projects isn't always just a good thing?
There are pros and cons. It depends. I think it depends. I think if you.
Because remember back in the old days, a long
What?
time ago, when projects weren't announced, you just kind of heard of them through the grapevine or that
Or when
one
a trailer came out.
time of the year. Yeah, or the
Or
one time of the year where the LA Times would release a special articles just showing the movies that are releasing
well,
that year.
well, look, that you can't avoid it. You can't avoid it now because of the internet. You know,
Well, yeah,
and everyone's digital and everyone's on social media. So
everybody's a
the
journalist.
best way to get ahead of it, the best way to control it and get ahead of it, is to announce it yourself.
Yeah,
But it just seems like they're jumping the gun on the announcements, and they're announcing projects when they're not ready and they need more time in the oven, or they need just longer to gestate, and it's causing problems. So
yeah,
I would just say hold off on announcing them, your cast, your crew, whatever, until you have it locked down and you are fairly certain it's greenlit and ready to go in front of the cameras. I would say just wait until you are absolutely sure it's going forward.
yeah, exactly.
Now look, Marvel has announced a lot of projects, and now they're shifting quite a bit
Mhm.
over the next 3 years. So,
But
you know,
Marvel has had a pretty good track record. I mean, they're
right, but still, like, you know, now we have the issues with Blade is changing up directors. In Armor Wars is gone from like a mini series to a movie, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And
yeah,
I think moving Avengers Secret Wars to 2026, I think that was a good move.
mhm,
I think releasing two Avengers movies just like 6 months apart or whatever uh, was not a good idea.
yeah,
Well, I'm glad they're doing that. But But yeah, I just think hold off on making the announcements until you're sure. You know, I think we kind of saw it with Obi-Wan Kenobi, where they had to do those rewrites, and they pushed back production like a year. But it still moved forward.
Yeah.
So you know, I think they just need to wait a little bit and just. I know. Look, you can't stop the flow of rumors because it just happens no matter what. But I think they need to just hold off on announcing things until they're ready to go. We'll see. I assume the skeleton crew is since we saw photos, it looked like they already started working on it, right?
Yeah, that looks like it's already in production or getting ready to start production.
So that's I think the type of level they need to sort of focus on. Yeah. Like when they're ready to go, that's when they can make the announcements. Okay. So, but we did also hear that there's a new movie in the works from Lost Damon Lindelof.
Yeah.
Lost in Watchmen. So what do you know about that? What do you think about that?
I think it's another thing they should have kept shut. That's what.
Well, but they didn't. This is not something they announced.
Out if it's not official, it's not official. But
this is not. Look, this could very well fall apart too. But this supposedly, Damon Lindelof is co-writing a script for filmmaker Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy of Miss Marvel. Supposedly, it's set after the events of The Rise of Skywalker. This project has not been confirmed, and we don't know exactly what it is. But supposedly, this is something they're kicking around.
I don't know. Me, I'll believe it when I see it.
Now, if Lucasfilm and Disney were to make like a sequel to Rise of Skywalker, would you like them to maybe do a direct sequel or something that's very like far in the future? Like, let's say like 500 years or 1,000 years, something like well into the future.
I would be more inclined if they did something that is after that timeline, but is its own story.
Sure.
And not bring in like the characters from The Last Jedi and tell a new story than to keep relying on the Skywalker saga in some way.
Okay. Now, do you want to see the old characters from the sequels come back?
No.
Do you want Rey, Finn, Poe?
No.
Etc.
No, I think that would give it some time on that. But I would like to see new stories and new.
But I would like to see just like hundreds of years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I would kind of like to see maybe a rebuilt Republic, a rebuilt Jedi Order that's maybe different than what's come before, and just go from there.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry. Like what's happened in the past trilogies has like truly fallen into legend and myth, basically. But like maybe not legend and myth, but like the status quo has been rebuilt. A new status quo has been built. That's what I would like to see if they were to make a sequel. But I truly have no idea what they have in mind for this film. We don't even know if this film will happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say I'm not holding my breath. If
it happens, also, according to Hollywood Reporter, Disney has untitled Star Wars features dated for December 2025 and December 2027. We do not know what these films are. So, one of them could be the Taika Waititi film. So we'll see
if it's still happening. Because he said he's no longer working he's no longer.
When did he say that?
Well, he already said he's no longer doing any Marvel like Thor movies anymore. He's done with that.
Okay, well, Star Wars is not Marvel Thor, Mike.
The Star Wars thing, I forgot where I read it, but let me see if I can find anything with it. That he wasn't gonna be doing any more, like the working with Disney or anything like that was gonna be limited.
I don't think he ever actually said that.
So I need to see if there was, because it was supposed to come out in.
So he spoke to the Wrap, He was asked about Star Wars film. He only said he won't start filming it in 2022 because he's working on Our Flag Means Death and Time Bandits.
Yeah.
So
they're bringing back Time Bandits.
He's doing like a Time Bandits for, I think, Apple TV. Yeah.
I like that.
That's his. He's spearheading Time Bandits, and I think he's directing the pilot.
I wonder if they have like an actual story or any idea of where to develop. I wonder if that's the problem.
Well, here's what he said. I'm still trying to figure out what the story is. So it sounds like his Star Wars film is up in the air, and it's still taking shape. And remember, Disney has not really even announced that film yet. Yeah. All right. Oh, so the other big news today, Disney landed the streaming rights to Doctor Who.
Oh, I know. I was shocked about that.
And so this is a big deal between BBC and Disney branded TV content. So basically, under this deal, Disney Plus will be the exclusive global streaming home of new Doctor Who content starting in November 2023. It will start with the 60th anniversary specials. So it'll be 3 specials featuring David Tennant returning as the Doctor. Now is the 14th Doctor, and Catherine Tate back as Donna Noble, his companion from the show. Let's see. So, and then the next Doctor actor, who I believe is, I'm sorry if I mispronounce his, Nkuti Gatwa. He will be coming on as the 15th Doctor during the festive period later next year. So they did the finale for Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor, and they gave us a surprise reveal that it's the return of David Tennant. So this is pretty big. Like, what's big about this is that Doctor Who is not Disney owned or Disney IP. So this is a pretty big play by Disney to get something on their platform that's not Disney or Disney owned. What do you think?
I was shocked that they were able to pull this off, because I mean Doctor Who is such a strong franchise that anybody could easily pick it up, but for Disney to do that was,
I mean, HBO Max picked it up in 2019.
Yeah, and I'm just like, to me it's shocking. Like, HBO Max seems like always like a good idea for Doctor Who. Never thought of Disney Plus being.
Do you think this means that BBC does not see much of a future with HBO Max?
Maybe because of the restructuring in the company still, that maybe they don't feel that they're ready or they'll get the best.
But why, even though like Doctor Who has like broad appeal, like, why do you think Disney would want to get in business with the BBC for like a franchise that they don't even own or produce?
Well, they do have the European, like, Star in UK.
Right. But they will not. No, they won't be streaming it in the UK or Ireland.
So it's just for the US.
It's global. It's every territory outside of the UK and Ireland, basically.
Sure.
So BBC. So basically, it's US, Latin America, and European and non-UK and Ireland European territories. So it's like that.
That's interesting. I don't know why they would. What?
I think they maybe wanted to, I think they want to at least experiment diversifying their lineup, you know?
Yeah, that's probably it. And seeing, well, because of the whole Hulu thing as well, you're gonna need, if let's say Disney buys out the remainder of Universal's stake in Hulu, and Hulu becomes their own, they integrate it into Disney Plus.
Right.
Disney Plus becomes a diverse platform.
Well, I think you have to, my thought is, if you want to be a one-stop streaming destination, you need to diversify your lineup. And I don't know if that means like live sports or whatever, but they do need to have some different content that will draw in a different type of audience,
Right.
and Doctor Who does have a global fan base. It does have a fan base, maybe not as big as it was 10 years ago, in the Tennant and Smith years, but it does have a sizable fan base, right?
Right, it does.
So I think if they want to be a real streaming destination, like for one thing, you can't be family content only. So look, we have the adult content blockers, and we have the Marvel Netflix shows. But you're going to need some different type of content. So I at least see this as they're willing to try something that's maybe outside the Disney umbrella, but is not really like, but is still kind of like family, youth-oriented entertainment that they can play around with, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So I do think it's interesting, and I'm curious to see how this deal works out for Disney and BBC. Just because, like, when you think Doctor Who, you don't really think Disney, but
yeah,
I do think if Disney Plus wants to be in this for the long haul, they're going to need to make some big moves like this, and maybe try things that are outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah, I mean, there's already things that they're doing that are angering some of the Disney fan base already with some of the content that they're thinking.
Such as what?
There was that new movie that's coming to Disney Plus about Chippendales.
Isn't that that's Hulu?
Nah, it's going to be on Disney Plus.
What?
Yeah, that Chippendales movie is going to be on Disney.
Welcome to Chippendales.
Yep,
that's a Hulu miniseries, Mike.
Oh, on the trailer it shows Disney Plus on the trailer.
So that's probably overseas. Possibly,
but there.
Yeah, it's
the first trailer that came out had Disney Plus on it, and
because it's the Disney. It's part of the Disney bundle.
Yeah, which people were already commenting on.
It's not a Disney Plus show. It's a Hulu show.
Whatever trailer that was out there had Disney
because it might be on like Hotstar or Disney.
Yeah, but you know how people are already. There was an uproar already because of some of the people I saw the trailer with the Disney Plus logo on it.
Well, they're wrong because it's a Hulu miniseries.
Exactly, but you know how people are. I mean, they were already friggin' kind of.
People lie and they make things up in their mind and they overreact and misinterpret things. Yes,
I'm talking
about like
you're
doing right now.
I'm talking about the mature audience thing.
Okay.
When they launched the mature audience thing and
when they launched the Netflix stuff, the Parent Television Council complained.
Yeah.
But who gives a flying frel? Because the Parent Television Council is a lobbying body. They have no governing or legislative power. Who gives a rat slack what the PTC says? They don't control jack slack.
That's what I say, but these are people who
they're a lobby. They're a lobbying group. They're not. They don't have any regulatory power. Who gives? They're full of nonsense and hot air.
Exactly, but there's also people who friggin' actually think that Disney should all be family oriented, and that's it.
Well, I mean, look,
it's ridiculous to me.
People had that attitude when Disney made that movie, The Black Hole. People got very upset because they made a PG movie.
Remember Down and Out in Beverly Hills?
No, I don't.
That was Hollywood Films, our Miramax at the time, which was owned by Disney, and they got flack for that too because it was an R-rated movie.
Right, but it was released under what? The Touchstone.
Could have been Touchstone or Miramax, one of the two.
Touchstone, which was an old division of Disney.
Yeah, but you know how people are. Like, people got mad when they friggin' brought in the scarier version of the Yeti at the Matterhorn. and said it was too scary for their kids.
All right. Well, look, it doesn't really look. My point is if they want Disney Plus to be the streaming destination, they're going to have to diversify their lineup and their content with content that is adult, that is M-rated, that is R-rated, and just age block it or lock it or whatever. You know, they can't, because look, if you want to play in the big leagues, you can't be families only, you know?
And I agree with you. That's one thing. All this, I agree with you that they need to diversify.
Where's this Chippendales business with Disney Plus?
Let me see if I can find the.
Because I feel like you're making things up in your mind.
Oh no!
All I can find is that this is a Hulu miniseries.
Because I was on Facebook and it was on a Disney Plus.
Yeah, because it's probably on Disney Plus Star overseas.
It probably is.
People aren't. And overseas, people aren't as puritanical as they are in the U.S.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying is like.
Okay, so what you saw is probably, it's on Disney Plus Star.
Yeah, but imagine somebody who doesn't realize that and doesn't realize that.
Well, I mean, look, we already have the Marvel Netflix shows on the platform. And those are very violent, and not only violent, they have some racy content in them.
Yep, exactly.
Like they don't have they stop short of F-bombs and like nudity, but they have some sexual content and some very graphic content in them.
Oh, I already found it. It's Disney Plus Singapore.
Oh my god,
that's the one that I saw. Disney Plus Singapore, Disney Plus Disney Australia and New Zealand.
Okay, so all right. So basically, you're saying some troglodytes on Twitter have no idea what they're looking at. They don't.
Yeah. Yes, but you know, but you know how some people are. That's what I'm bringing up is the fact that you know how some people are. They will never look into where it's from.
Well, truthfully, I think Disney Plus and Hulu probably should merge. At some point, and they should be getting all that content on Disney Plus and make it the one-stop shop, so to speak, so we can get things that aren't just Disney or Disney-owned on there.
Yeah,
and I think
even like 20. What happened to the catalog that they got from buying 20th Century Fox?
I think they have some of those films on there, but I think it's just a matter of some of those streaming rights are probably still locked up in other platforms, maybe.
Yeah.
From probably before the buyout. You know, who knows?
Probably locked into Turner Classic Movies and all those other ones that they're still.
I think there used to be a Fox movie channel back in the day.
There was at one time, a long time.
I remember years back. There was an airing of like Predator on like the Fox movie channel, and they had like these pop-up video factoids that I thought were really neat, but this was like when I was in college.
Yeah.
All right. So also release. So this is sort of like a double shot story. So we got our Disney Plus. The next Disney Plus special presentation is the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. So we got our trailer for that, and it's the Guardians meet Kevin Bacon. Guardians have to save Christmas for Peter Quill by bringing him his favorite actor, Kevin Bacon, as a present. So that looks like it could be fun.
Exactly. I thought it was a good idea. Like if they're going to go that route, that was a great idea to do it.
And of course, James Gunn, who teased this special features the debut of my favorite new MCU character. He revealed it was, in fact, Kevin Bacon. So it wasn't some crazy character from the comics. It was Kevin Bacon.
Yep.
So it looks like this is just going to be sort of like a comedic prelude kind of before the Volume 3, which comes out in May.
Yep, exactly. I saw the trailer.
In November.
Yeah, I saw the trailer and I thought it was awesome. November 25th, right, is when it comes out?
Yep, November 25th. So I guess after Thanksgiving. So this is the second special presentation for Marvel Disney, the first being Werewolf by Night. And Werewolf by Night was pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
like for what it was, like as sort of like a one-off, like standalone, like it was good. I thought
Yeah,
it worked.
exactly. So if you're not going Black Friday shopping, you could watch the Guardians of the Galaxy
Or
Christmas.
you can do both.
Yeah, nowadays you can.
All right. So, in the other big news to go along with James Gunn, who is writing and directing the holiday special in Guardians Volume 3, big move for James Gunn as James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to lead the film, TV, and animation division for DC Studios with Warner Brothers.
Yep.
They will report to this is from Hollywood Reporter. They will report to David Zaslav and assume the title of co-chairs and co-CEOs of DC Studios. So James Gunn moving on up in the world, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he deserves it. He's done some great work, some great stories.
Right.
I mean, look at what he's done with big tentpole films, and even on the DC properties with the Suicide Squad movie that he did.
Here's my question though: do you think
Mhm.
Marvel alienated and screwed up by firing James Gunn all those years back?
Yeah, yeah, he did. They did. I think it left a bad taste in his mouth. I
Even
think
though he came back to do, he did ultimately come back for Guardians and all that.
yeah, but I think he wanted to close out his vision of Guardians too. And I think that's the reason why he agreed to come back, was to close out what he's done and then to move forward. And he's moving forward in a big way. That's all I could say.
I mean, I think it's interesting. It's an ambitious move, and I'm curious to see how it works out. I guess my concern is that I feel like we've been here before with DC film, you know?
Yes, yes.
Because was this not the role that Walter Hamada was brought in to do?
Yes, it was.
And then before him, Jeff Johns and John Berg.
Hmm.
And then even before that, Diane Nelson and I guess Zack Snyder. So I guess what I'm wondering, do you think they have a plan here, and do you think it will work this time?
The one thing you definitely have to go with is the fact that he knows the material.
Okay.
And that kind of is a good thing. Is that he's
Okay.
coming in with some knowledge.
So did Jeff Johns. Then.
Yeah, but Jeff Johns had a different aspect of things because Jeff Johns was more
More what?
on the DC comic book line, kind of was on there, and then
But he's now like writing and producing films.
yeah, yeah. But I think experience wise,
so you think the experience Gunn has as a writer and director makes a difference?
I think the experience makes a huge difference in comparison to what Jeff Johns went through. I think the level of experience is higher on James Gunn's side. And I think that's where you have to rely on, is the fact that the experience that he's had and what he's done and how to move forward with this. And I think he's going to bring in collaboratives. I mean, they already have what's his name for the Batman?
Matt Reeves.
Yeah, Matt Reeves is a part of the WB system now for a long term. So I think he'll be able to work with people and collaborate to get the right people to do what they need to do. If that makes sense.
So they're basically replacing Walter Hamada. Mm-hmm. There were talks with Dan Lin beforehand. I do think at least James Gunn, I like him more in this role than Dan Lin, at least. No offense to Dan Lin. I think Dan Lin is a good producer, but I think that's what, he's a movie producer. I think that's, yeah. I think Gunn, at least he brings, Gunn has at least been there in the trenches and he's a creative type. So he's a writer and a storyteller. So I hope he'll at least bring that perspective, and helping, the artists with their creative vision.
Yeah. And being a Warner Brothers stockholder, I really hope he changes those things around in at least one part of the division.
Was it there was something about them taking a big write down? Isn't that bad news?
No, it's not. It's not, because all this is still they're still trying to figure out what the reorganization. I mean, the James Gunn thing is just one part of the big reorg.
Warner Brothers Discovery to take $2 billion plus write down on content and developing amid restructuring, says Hollywood Reporter.
Yep.
Layoffs could cost the company more than $1 billion, and total costs could top $4 billion per an SEC filing.
Yep.
That doesn't sound very great.
It doesn't sound great, but for the amount of what Warner Brothers has in its properties,
okay,
it doesn't shock me. It's not a shocking number. I mean, you look at the decades, the 100+ years of Warner Brothers, and everything that they have, and everything that they have in different segments and different productions that they have with everything, it doesn't shock me. But I think if they do the reorganization correctly, this is going to be alleviated pretty quickly.
So right now in theaters we have Black Adam, and then next year we're gonna get The Flash and Aquaman and The Lost Kingdom. We know Matt Reeves and Pattinson are returning for a sequel to the Batman. We don't know when that's happening. Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix are back for a sequel to Joker with Lady Gaga that they're working on. So there's stuff in the pipeline. Then you look at all the the Batgirl got thrown in the trash. Some other projects I think got canceled. So and then the animated shows are being written off, and a lot of animated artists, a lot of animated shows are feeling a lot of pain right now from Warner Brothers. Like Final Space, which is a show I really like.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's gonna be. This is what usually happens when somebody new takes over. They're reorganizing it to make it work cleaner in the future under their.
That doesn't really sound like a good thing though right now.
It doesn't, like, it never, from the outside it never sounds like a good thing. In the inside it does, because it's a matter of restructuring the financials, so you make sure you're not overspending, where you're spending correctly on the projects that should be spent on, and getting rid of what shouldn't be spent on, and you're just putting it out just to put it out.
Well, I mean, I don't agree with getting rid of shows and properties that are good and beloved, so to speak. That have
get rid of this
fan base. I just don't think that's a good way to endear yourself to the public, to the actual consumer.
Well, the consumer, they'll come back if you get a string of great movies or great shows, they'll come back. It's
not always.
Not always, but you know what? You got a good property in Warner Brothers, and they'll come back. It's like, that's why I'm not selling my Warner Brothers Discovery stock. I'm actually buying more, because
now's not the time to sell.
No. Right now it's at $13.45 a share.
Right.
So
all right.
The time to sell. It was at high as at one point. Well, it's kind of hard to say because.
Well, folks, I hate to break it to you, but Mike Sandoval is anti-creative and anti-artist. And he is not a fan of Infinity Train or Final Space. So
excuse me.
I apologize to fans of Infinity
I am not anti-creative or anti-artist, but I'm also very know the fact of how much money allows you to do a lot of cool things that you want to make.
Well, the way they've treated shows like Infinity Train and Final Space is not cool.
Yeah. Well,
Final Space is super cool.
It's what happens, and it sucks. I mean, that's the thing that sucks with when you sell, when a new owner comes in, because it's like, even like in pro sports, when a new owner buys a team, there's two ways they're going to go. They're going to clean house and rebuild and start over, or they're going to keep what they have and try and make it work. A lot of the times there's the owners that just get rid of every single player. They keep the payroll low, so in the coming years they could buy new players. It's sometimes a heartache, and it hurts for a couple years, and then they come back. Same thing. and it sucks. Like
I don't think that makes it okay.
I don't want to see anybody lose their job or come out of work, but it is a business. And that's the one thing that kind of sucks with Warner Bros. It's a business, and they have stockholders to answer to and other people. I just hope that
this is why I did not support the AT&T and Discovery mergers.
I was supportive of it because AT&T. I don't like AT&T CEO, and that's why I supported it to get it off, because I think AT&T was making a lot of bad mistakes. But that's why I say Warner Brothers, I think it's going to be a couple hard years, but I have a feeling it's going to come back even stronger. That's my thing.
All right. Well, okay. So tonight we have Andor.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have episode 8 of Andor, where we left off on episode 7 announcement. Andor looked like he tried to retire into obscurity on like a pleasure resort. He got picked up and arrested by Imperials and thrown in the clink.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's in jail. So it looks like he's about to have a rough go of it coming up. That was a weird ending. Did something seem off about Andor at the end? It looked like he was, I don't want to say like he was high on drugs, but like it looked like he was like out of it and paranoid when that happened.
He did seem paranoid, that's for sure.
Because normally he seems to know what to do in those types of situations.
Mm-hmm.
And normally is very sharp and alert, but in this instance he seemed just very, I don't know, like he seemed like a guy who was high on drugs.
Well,
am I crazy?
Did he know that that the Imperials knew about what happened on that planet and they're looking for him? I don't think
I think the only guy that's looking for him right now is Cyril.
Yeah,
at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. He just seemed different from, like, remember in the first episode when those guys came after him and he like just snapped into action?
Mm-hmm.
Here he just seemed like when they were going after those runners on the beach or whatever, and he got drawn into that, it just seemed like he was at it. He was like, I don't know, like something was dulled about his senses. I don't know. It seemed weird.
I don't know. I was trying to figure it out.
I don't know. I felt like he was doing drugs with the girl in his room or something, and he was hungover. I don't know.
Could have been. Could have not been.
Like what was the girl? What was? Remember the girl? Like the girl he was sleeping with in his room. Like what? Yeah. It was like she was asking for him to grab some drugs or something, right? Or was she asking for just junk food?
I don't know. I really don't know. That's what left me kind of.
You're a worldly individual, Mike. How did you see this situation?
The drug thing could have happened. Like, don't get me wrong, or they were drinking all night or having fun, relaxing all night drinking. That could have been it, and he could have been hungover. And then I was thinking about him being paranoid from them doing the raid and the steal.
Okay.
Then maybe somebody knew who he was or something.
He was a little too paranoid.
Yeah. He was really paranoid.
New episode is out, episode 8, Narkina. So basically, we're gonna take a break.
It is.
We're gonna mute everything, and we'll be back once the episode is over for the post show after party. See you in a bit, everyone.
See you soon.
Okay, okie pokey. All right, we got some more spin bots trying to come in here. All right, so we're just waiting for Mike, and then we'll be back for our post-show after-party recap for Cassian Andor. So that was episode 5. No, excuse me. Episode 8, Narkina 5, was the prison colony Andor was sent to. Got an appearance by Saw Gerrera, more Wolf Yularen. What's his name? Cyril is trying to weasel his way into the Empire by finding Cassian Andor. So we have the rebel fighters and Luthen are still looking for Andor. And now it looks like Luthen's trying to make a new plan with Saw Gerrera. So it's like we might be gearing up for an explosive finale of sorts. But Andor has to get out of this awful prison situation first. Is really really rough, man. Those was just really awful conditions between the booby-trapped floor. You can get fried on the floor. You stay too long. Ugh, what a rough place. Oh, here we are, Mike.
Got a hot foot.
Oh man, kind of like a 1984 there, man. Man, it was rough. That was rough though. Those prison scenes.
Yeah, exactly. It should gives you, at least it gives you a side of the Empire and what they did to people.
Here's my big criticism of that.
Uh-huh.
It makes no sense that they would not have like non-humans at that prison.
Yeah.
They should have aliens at that prison.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because like, why would you want, like, it's a prison.
Mm-hmm.
And like they need the labor. So why would it be a humans only prison? Excuse me, you know? Like,
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. It's where
in Star Wars there are aliens of all shapes and sizes. There are humanoid aliens that are similar build to humans, but like, why would you not want like aliens working at your prison? You need the labor.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I
mean,
don't understand. And I agree with you on that one.
We did see aliens in this episode, but they're always in the background, and look, it's just because look, this is Star Wars, and there are many alien species about. There are English, there are English speaking aliens or what, but like, why would you not have alien non-humans at your prison colony? I just don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get that either. That's where I'm kind of lost. Are they just smarter at hiding? Or what? Because I just don't understand it. You would think you would see at least someone who looks like.
Because look, I mean, in at what in Solo, it wasn't the Empire, but like the gangsters had alien slaves and whatnot.
Yeah,
and, they had Wookiee slaves and whatnot, and and their labor camps. And this is basically a slave labor camp. An unlawful one, but it's the Empire. But why would you not want aliens there or non-humans? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So that's like my only real complaint. But it was really suspenseful, and I imagine there's going to be a big prison break. Andy Serkis was quite a surprise. I didn't know we were going to see him.
I was surprised about that too. I didn't know he was in the series.
I had no idea he was going to show up, and it looks like he's going to have like a. Not a lead role, but he'll have like probably this episode and maybe a couple more, kind of. So
yeah, because we got 3 more episodes left, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna get another 1 or 2 more episodes.
We got so it looks like Vel and Cinta. So they basically confirm that they're together in a relationship.
Yeah.
They are looking for Andor on Ferrix to take him out because he knows too much. Exactly. But Andor is stuck in a prison colony right now. And then Luthen also wants Andor found, but now he's teaming up with Saw Gerrera, and he wants to plan another heist with Saw Gerrera to really just stick it to the Empire. Even at the cost of oppression, because oppression breeds rebellion, as Luthen says. So I have a feeling we're going to circle back into this big heist with Saw Gerrera for like toward the finale, and that'll be the finale of the first season.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think it's going to end with you waiting for. That's why I say I think the second half of this is going to be where it's going to be a completely different storyline, where it's going to be a lot more.
So now we have Cyril telling ISB Deidre Miro about Andor. Now she's on Ferrix looking for Andor. and interrogating his friends and Bix, and they're getting drawn into this. Not sure where they're going with that. But like, okay, so I hope we never see Cyril again.
Well, I think there will be a time by the end of the series.
Why did they not just kill this schmuck? Like, ugh.
I don't know.
He could go through all that nonsense with his mother.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's like,
that's why he's just waiting to die.
He's a petulant child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cyril is,
and he's still acting like a petulant child with the Empire.
What?
So he like all but begging on hands and knees to get like, please give me a job.
That's why I say, and I've been saying since day one, he's a little bitch.
But like they spent so much time with this character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Like now just don't like look. I can understand what's going on with Dedra because look, she's an officer doing her job, right? Mm-hmm. She believes whatever she's wrong, but she believes in her cause, right? And she believes these rebels are a threat to the Empire and she has to snuff them out.
Yeah, and she's taking a look at all avenues that are becoming
right. I understand that, but Cyril is just so unlikable.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot stand him. Like
exactly, he's annoying to the point where you really hope that something happens.
Like I like the actor as Dedra because at least like she exudes confidence and
mm-hmm.
like power and strength.
Yeah.
You know, she's got presence. She's got like an attitude.
Yeah.
You know, and she's pragmatic about her work. And I'm really drawn to the actor's performance. Cyril, no offense to that actor, Kyle Solar, I think his name. I just can't stand him.
Yeah, just the character you can't stand.
The way he's everything about the character,
mm-hmm.
but
yeah. By Dedra, I'm really starting to like even more because it seems like she's putting the pieces together of what is going on.
Right, but are they going to track Andor back to the prison or back to Luthen, or I don't know? Something's got to give.
I'm thinking they're finally going to track to the prison, but they're probably going to break him out.
They're going to have to do some big prison breakout.
Yeah.
Well, ultimately, what I would like to happen is they break out of the prison. Then he teams up with Luthen and Saw Gerrera
mm-hmm.
to do this big heist.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think my issue is there's like the way Saul looks now. I think is a bit inconsistent.
Well, I think it kind of fits into what we saw in Rogue One is one thing to what it is now.
Okay, like in Rogue One, he had hair,
mm-hmm.
but when we see him in Rebels, he was bald. Like before that was when I think that was before the Rogue One reshoot. So here, I'll give you a picture.
Let's go with the picture. I was going by body type and what all the mechanics are posted.
Yeah, so he looks. So this is like a similar time period to where he is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he should look like. I don't know. I just feel like the way Saul looks now is kind of like the way they're mapping out his look is inconsistent. See what else? He was also in Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
See how he looked in Fallen Order.
Yeah, send me a picture because now these are part of the canon, so it's kind of like
right. Now I think the only thing I think about Fallen Order is it took place earlier than this, so that's maybe one excuse.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I need the full. Hold up. Get the full thing. I'll pull it right now. Okay, I got it.
Can you see any of these?
Let me pull up the tab right now. Here we go.
Okay, so now let's see where Star Wars Fallen Order. That's what I'm trying to look up. Okay, so Fallen Order is 14. Okay. So this is not. So this is him 9 years before what we just saw, right? So this
Right.
kind of makes. So this makes a little more sense.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the respirator. I don't think he had the respirator yet here.
No,
Right?
he didn't have the respirator yet.
Okay, but then when we see him in Rebels, he still looks similar to this, and not like what we just saw today.
Yeah.
So there's like some visual inconsistency with how they.
Let me go back to the Rebels one.
So I'm going to show you Rebels. Okay, so look at that. That's around this same time period.
Yeah.
If not, this is that Rebels. The Rebels photo is actually after what we just saw in this scene. It takes place like maybe a year or two later. So I don't know. I just feel like they haven't gotten a good handle on the changes Saw Gerrera goes through in this series.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that,
And
especially.
I know some of that's due to the reshoots because I think in Rogue One he was supposed to look differently at first.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I don't know. I'm just a bit weirded out because I just feel like there's not a I feel like there's a bit of inconsistency with how Saw looks.
Well, I could see that. I don't get that nitpicky with Saw Gerrera, but I could see that.
Well, nonetheless, it was good to see Forrest Whitaker back, and I'm hoping we're going to see like a big op with Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, I hope
before the end of the season.
I hope so as well. I think we need to see sometime. The last episode has to end big.
They have to do some big like I hope the last episode isn't a prison break, but yeah.
Oh yeah, me too.
Do you think Bix and Marva make it out of the show alive?
I think Marva doesn't, but Bix will.
What do you think happens to Bix though? Did she join the Rebel Alliance or did she just disappear?
I think she joins the Rebel Alliance.
Interesting.
That's what it seems like to me. But I think when they see after what she saw just right now in this episode, and I think whatever happens tomorrow, I think that's going to help her change. That's going to make her decision.
But man, those prison scenes were just rough, man.
Yeah,
you could really feel those. I thought.
Yeah.
What did you think of this?
Oh, and I love the way they shot it and the way it looks, the feel. It all leads back like to a 70s sci-fi look and feel to it.
It also reminded me of like I was starting to get like an Orwellian like 1984 vibe.
Yeah,
from these episodes.
Exactly. A lot of inspiration off of other films and other films that have come out in the past, which I just was kind of like really intrigued about, and it was interesting to see it and go there.
There is a 1984 movie, by the way, with John Hurt.
Yep.
But yeah, I can see him like the original THX film. Can see that there. Logan's Run, yeah.
Yeah.
But also 1984 with just how sort of like in those banquet party scenes at Mom Mothma's home, how she has she doesn't know who she can trust, and like can she even trust her husband, her children, and she has to kind of watch what she says in front of them.
Yeah.
Talking in a veiled tone of voice, in veiled language. Because once again, one wrong move here, and you're
exactly.
You're dead.
And the one thing I do want to touch on is the music as well, especially the music that is used in the cell scene.
this is very different from what we're used to for Star Wars as well, but it works because they're going for this kind of very gritty, lo-fi style. So it's kind of just this minimalist electronic, a lot of electronic synth, and it sounds like it reminds me of like Cyberpunk and Blade Runner.
Yeah,
really.
And that's the one thing where it goes back to what you said earlier. Where's the aliens? And that's kind of, it's a good question to ask. And
my problem is because it's Star Wars, it's taking me out of it the fact that there are so few aliens. Like, I understand why, but now it's, to me, it's distracting that there are so few.
Yeah. Do you think that, I'm wondering if there's a separation between humanoids and aliens whenever they go into these prisons?
Well, I think that's the separation in the Empire, yes, but like, I think that's a thing that's been referenced in expanded Legends material.
Yeah.
Going back to the 90s. And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Palpatine being who he is. I'm just saying in the prisons it doesn't make sense because like in the prison, like the prisons are oppressive. Like they're wrong.
Yeah.
And it's probably innocent people or people who shouldn't be there who are being, abused or exploited by the Empire. So it makes sense that aliens or non-humans, like, Wookiees or whatever, especially considering Wookiees are very good engineers and builders and what have you, it would make more sense that they are in the prison colonies,
Yeah.
So I don't get why they would want to separate. It makes no sense to me.
Exactly. And I agree with you on that one, but I was just, it's just, that's, I think
look, it's not just at the prison colonies. Like when we saw them getting shipped out on the prison ships, there were no aliens either.
No.
And that to me, that just doesn't make sense because again, it's Star Wars and now it's taking me out of the show that there are so few aliens right now.
Yeah.
Because like remember in A New Hope, like you go into Mos Eisley or you go into the cantina and there are aliens all over the place.
Yeah.
You go on Coruscant, you go into like the diner or you go into the bar and there are aliens, humans everywhere.
Yeah.
And look, this includes the films that were set, at the height of the Empire. I don't know, it just seems now it's just starting to seem odd to me.
Like even in Coruscant too, you don't see that many. You see a few in some of the dinner party scenes,
right?
But we
saw a couple, and we saw we saw that alien who works with Saw Gerrera, who was in Rogue One.
Yes,
we saw him again. He was out there guarding the hideout, on lookout, but no speaking roles, and it's not like disappointing. I just think it now it's becoming noticeable.
Yeah.
Any other observations for this episode for you?
That was pretty much it. For me, at least. I think with a lot of what you said is true about with the aliens. I like the episode. To me, I'm kind of into this episode, this show, because of the fact that it's making you think while you're watching it. You're kind
this was. I think this was a much better episode than last week because it was suspenseful. And like not a lot of action, but at least look like you really just felt the plight of Andor being in that prison.
Yeah.
And Andor, I think Andor was smart because Andor, he didn't talk a lot, and he's just collecting information.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not acting out. He's not talking. He's paying attention. He's doing what he should be.
Yeah, observing, seeing what's going on, figuring everything out. And
he's not acting out, and he's not trying to draw attention to himself, but he's clearly taking what's the phrase? He's taking note of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And something and he's clearly going to try to get his ass out of there at some point.
Exactly. There's, he's putting everything together. You could see that he's observing how people act, why Andy Serkis's character goes to the box. There is, like, you could tell he's observing every aspect of that space. And I think that's what I like about this show, is the fact that it isn't your traditional Star Wars show. It makes you think. It makes you wonder what some of the moves are, what strategy is. I guess you could call it like a stratego.
I think the other thing is here, we really see the cruelty of the Empire,
Yeah.
In the older movies, like the cruelty was never this personal,
No.
Because now we're really getting like the full kind of, the terror, the manipulation the Empire is capable of.
Yeah.
How they're abusing citizens and citizens who really aren't doing anything wrong, or just keeping their head down, who are just,
and that fear,
they look guilty, so they sentence them for nothing, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where you see that fear that it engulfed the gullet.
And then in the prison they'll just add time, they'll just triple or double their sentences for no reason.
Yeah.
Because of the anti-rebel legislation.
Yep, exactly.
So
that's why I say I like the show, and I'm loving as we go along. There's little things that I wish I could see better, that some adjustments, but I'm as of episode 8, I'm still into this show.
Yeah, I'm into it too. I just like, okay, like, where are the aliens? Like, this is a prison. Where are the aliens? Like, why would you not want aliens at your prison?
Exactly, especially with heavy lifting and heavy things that are going to be a human cannot pick up,
right?
Per se.
And I just think they're just too into the mode of, making it too gritty and realistic. And I get that, but at the same time, I think you have to be true to the material. And this is a sort of mythology.
Yeah.
Where there are many alien species that, coexist and operate around humans, and it's starting to seem a bit off to me.
Yeah.
While it may be more realistic for the writers and directors, to me it's not realistic for Star Wars, because this is like the status quo of Star Wars.
Yeah, there's aliens, there's a bunch of different galaxies. Every planet looks different, and who their species are. So that's what you would expect to see in a Star Wars series or show.
And look, and even if there's a conceit where, like, okay, this is a human-only prison, fine. I still think, like, we should be seeing aliens hauled off to other prison colonies, because that planet was inhabited by non-humans as well.
Yeah, and I agree with, like, when the sentencing and they're placing them onto their ships, you didn't see an alien there either.
Yeah, they were all human.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's kind of just taking me out of it a little bit, but whatever.
Yeah. I like the storyline so far. I'm curious to see what's going to happen next.
I'll give this, to me, last week was like a 7 out of 10. To me, this week was like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, same here with me. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I think it hit all the marks for me, and it's gonna, like I say, the one thing that it always does, and I love, is that it leaves me wanting more. And that's what I'm looking at. It leaves me wanting to see what's next.
Yeah. So exactly. Now that we've got Andor, so we have all 6 episodes of Tales of the Jedi are out now. Now we can talk about it.
Oh, we could talk about it.
Anything you want to say about Tales of the Jedi before we leave?
From what they said this show was going to be about, it seemed now that it's a continuous story over 6 episodes that link together.
A little bit.
Yeah, because that's what I kind of felt when I thought it was going to be outtakes of learning a little bit about the Jedis, but it's really 3 for Ahsoka and 3 for Dooku. Yeah. which kind of complete a story. So that's
the story being what sparked Dooku joining Palpatine, Darth Sidious. Why did he leave the Jedi? Why did he turn against the Jedi?
Yep.
What Ahsoka was doing after the fall of the Republic, kind of things. Also, the birth of Ahsoka. I think the first one was the best one.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It
So
was the most unknown for me. I think that's like out of all of them, I think the most unknown was the birth of Ahsoka, which I had.
You can knock this whole thing out in really like under an hour and a half. All 6 of these. To me, this show is like, this is, if you're a fan of the Clone Wars, this is like, okay, it's not an epilogue, but it's like here's if you're a big fan of the Clone Wars, here's some more Clone Wars type material that you can like.
Exactly. So that's why I would say take a look at it. It's actually great animation. I like the stories. I like
good animation. At the same time, I don't know. The Dooku stuff was a little.
The second episode?
Huh?
Are you talking about that second episode where they show his Qui-Gon?
Well, I think some of the writing with Dooku, like, to me, it's disconnected from the character we saw in the films. And like right off the bat, he almost like murders a senator with the Force choke, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I mean, this guy's already going to the dark side this early.
Yeah, exactly.
And Qui-Gon Jinn saw it. Like Qui-Gon Jinn saw it. Like what did Qui-Gon think he saw?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like he ignored it to me.
Yeah.
And then he gets all angry about he's angry about Mace Windu joining the Jedi Council. Right?
Yeah.
We have some comments here. There's no aliens because they want to save money in the production, says Nuke the First. There have been aliens in the show, though.
Yeah.
It's just that they're mostly in the background.
There are no main characters up front. They're all background.
I mean, there were more aliens in Kenobi. Best Star Wars streaming series to date, says The Atomizer. Serious question: what studio is Disney selling Star Wars to after this?
None. It's not.
There's no way. There's no way.
And this isn't a disaster. It has holes, but it's not a disaster.
I mean, for the merchandise alone, Disney is never going to get rid of Star Wars.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. The opportunities and what they could do within, and that's the one thing.
They would sell the Muppets before they got rid of Star Wars.
Exactly. And even then, they won't sell the Muppets.
Yeah, here's the other thing. Disney is not in as bad of a state as Warner Brothers right now.
Yeah, Warner Brothers is in flux.
So I mean, they're not selling Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this. Star Wars. How much did they bought Lucasfilm for?
I don't remember. It was back in.
Lucasfilm. They bought Lucasfilm for $4 billion.
They already made up their money.
They already made that money back long ago.
Yep.
And even if one show is not successful, like you have the theme parks, you have the merchandise,
the ships, tourism,
you have the ancillary markets, you have gaming, you have all these things where you are going to see the money. And like everyone can like all the detractors complained, like they lost money on the merchandise because of Last Jedi or whatever, but then they make the Mandalorian and they probably made it all that back in triplicate because of freaking Baby Yoda.
Exactly.
All right. So they are not, there's no way they're there's no way they're losing money on this unless there's some really bad Hollywood accounting going on.
Yeah, exactly. The Atomizer commented, "Love seeing how the Empire was able to construct the huge ships and structures through the unique human labor."
Right. So
Yeah.
don't you think they could make it even faster if they were like if they had some Wookiee prisoners? It's
Yeah.
like that's like the whole that's the Wookiees' whole thing. They're brilliant engineers, they're brilliant pilots
Mhm.
and builders.
Yeah.
They're tech experts.
Mhm.
Everything is disconnected to every character we've seen in the films. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't think everything is disconnected to every character.
It doesn't. I wouldn't say no. I'm not really seeing that just because
Yeah.
we're seeing different parts of the galaxy that we didn't really get to see in the other films, and it does feel thematically more connected to Rogue One.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
But the lack of alien activity, yeah, it's a problem for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not it's not is it a detriment to the show? Yes, but it's not like a game breaker.
Exactly. I agree with you on that one. It's great storytelling in comparison to
I would say is it a valid criticism? Yes, I think it's a valid criticism at this point. Just because why would they not want non-humans at their prison?
Exactly.
What, they're gonna poison they're gonna upset their racial sensibilities at it's a prison.
Yeah.
Like it's a symbol of galactic oppression and cruelty. Like it's not,
exactly.
They aren't gonna care. I don't see why would you want to even separate humans from non-humans at a prison?
Yeah.
It makes no sense because it's Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
The Atomizer. May I add, the minimal use of the volume helps in the visuals of Andor. I think that goes back all the way to the beginning of the show, that they did a lot of practical sets and a lot of location shooting, and it really just sort of helped the aesthetic for this series look very high end, I think.
And remember, he said we'd have the ability to use the volume.
Who said that?
Production. Remember at Star Wars Celebration, Gilroy was saying.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, when they asked him.
Oh, well, I wasn't really. Yeah.
They asked him about the volume and using it in the show, and he said like we didn't get the opportunity to use the volume in this show. Everything had to be done the old-fashioned way.
Well, I think it's
a good thing.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, because I think the volume works on certain things, but not in others.
Well, I think because this show has a bit of a wider scope.
Mm-hmm.
Also, because there are a lot more characters. I think they could get away with it in the first season of Mandalorian because it was a more tighter, focused plot. I think. Hope you get. Hey, De-Atomizer, thanks for joining us and thanks for your comments.
Definitely, we're here every Tuesday night starting at 11. If you want to join in, just come on in, and we talk about everything Star Wars, everything on the books until Star Wars Andor comes out, and then we talk about Andor for after the.
Oh, so to move to as an aside, so what do you think, Mike? Do you think AEW is gonna wash their hands of CM Punk or what?
Yeah, he's gone.
You think that's a smart play?
I don't think it's a smart play, but I think they're gonna do it.
But do you think Punk will sign with WWE if they buy him out, or do you think
no?
Or do you think Tony Khan will prevent WWE from signing him?
I don't even think WWE is interested, to be honest. I don't think he'll ever go back to WWE. I think that avenue and that door's possibly closed.
Why can't they work something out and just put their differences aside and do business? You know?
Well, that's what they should be doing, is putting everything aside and doing business. But I don't think that's the way it's going to work out.
Do you think that? Do you think? Oh,
Hey,
hey,
thank you,
bottled water's on me. Thanks for that, de-atomizer.
the atomizer. Really appreciate it. Helps get us that alkaline water.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
Exactly. We need that. Keeps us healthy, keep us
Hey.
ready to go. So thank you very much, the atomizer. Really appreciate
That's
it.
badass. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Very appreciative. But what was I going to say
about CM Punk?
So CM Punk, do you think the Bucks are? You think the Bucks are just too stubborn on this? Do you think that they're at fault or what?
I think they're a little bit at fault. I think they're since this is our first time being in having a title of executive VP. How executive are they really? May have gone into their head a little bit on the way they do things. I mean, going from experience, when you get it, if you're young and you don't know the responsibility of the job, sometimes that could get to your head, especially like when with money, when you're not never made a lot of money, and then all of a sudden you're getting these big checks and you have positions of power, it could happen.
Do you think it was true? Do you think Punk was paranoid about the whole leaking stuff about getting Colt Cabana fired or whatever?
Oh yeah.
Do you think that's true, or do you think he was being paranoid?
I think it's true and being paranoid at the same time. I think it's a little of both.
I just feel like people were asking about the Colt Cabana situation when he signed, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
I'll be back on camera next week, de-atomizer. I just need, I didn't get a haircut this week. I'm just feeling a little blah.
Well, I didn't comb my hair either all day because I was pretty much editing all day.
I just didn't feel great about. I'll be back on camera next week. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I don't mind having the camera all to myself. It doesn't happen that much. I do have a sister who takes up most of the appreciation and the fan base of everything. So.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed because it seemed like when Punk signed with AEW, it was such a big deal, and it just seems like just a little over a year later, it just seems like it's all gone to hell. It's just a little sad to me.
Yeah, exactly. So the Atomizer subscribed and said he'll hold you to it, so you better be on next week on camera.
I need to get a haircut, and I just need to clean things up a little, and I'll get to that.
Yeah, so next
clean myself up a bit.
So next Tuesday you gotta be back on camera.
I just feel sloppy and blah tonight, just because usually Tuesdays is like a rough day for me.
Yeah, Tuesday I actually have an interview on Tuesday, so I'm going to be pretty much cleaned up still.
So you can check me out on Twitter at Wheeljack83. Go to 411mania.com. My official review of Star Wars Tales of the Jedi is up right now. Also, my review of Black Adam, Werewolf by Night, and lots of other stuff. So check that out. And thank you, Mike, for having me on again tonight.
Always. And I'm Mike Sandoval, founder, executive producer of MUSE TV. Thank you, everybody. The Atomizer, Nuke the Fridge, Derpy 501st. Derpy, you got to get here earlier, man. Derpy's been here before. And unfortunately, he woke up. I know it's late. I am thinking of me and Jeffrey are going to be talking about something off the air after in between, because I am thinking of changing the time to try and fit everybody's needs. A good average time where we should do this in the future. So after more people could be on, more people could be a part of this. Let me read the Adamizer's quote. I'll be here at 7:17 on Wednesday evening here in Sydney. Oh, shoot. I got to really figure out how we could do this where we could just really welcome in everything and a good sweet spot of how this is all going to work out. But we'll figure out something after we could get you in. But we do start here on the West Coast at 11 p.m. on Tuesdays. It's 2 a.m. on oh, shoot. I think I may have did a different time in somewhere too. 2 a.m. Eastern time on the East Coast here in the United States. We are going to try and make it work with everybody around the world. It's we're a global community, and we got to start thinking that way. And sometimes I forget. but we're gonna make it work somehow, some way. Me and Jeffrey will make it work in the future. But we got some great stuff coming up here on Muse TV. Some things I can't tell you yet. We'll be able to tell you next week. Uh, but we got some great stuff coming up. And stay tuned to Muse TV on Roku and Amazon Fire TV as we are expanding, we're growing, and we have some new things coming out. We're going to make some big announcements really soon as well for 2023 and the next decade of Muse. So thank you, everybody, for being a part of this. Thank you for staying on. And we'll see you next week. Don't forget, catch us next week for the Star Wars Andor watch party and after show. This is Jeffrey Harris. I'm Mike Sandoval, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.